To say to the 5 police officers that murdered my son, you also disgraced your own families when you did this. But you know what? I'm going to pray for you and your families.
Tonight, the 29-year-old's family says the video showing him being beaten relentlessly after a traffic stop earlier this month, they want it to be made public.
Yeah, Nichols died in a hospital 3 days later, and now 5 former officers are charged with second-degree murder.
Yeah, all officers involved in the traffic stop, whom you see right there, have been fired. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Charlotte McBride. Skylar Henry is in Memphis tonight as the city braces for unrest.
Justice for Tyree Nichols.
Hours before authorities were due to release video of the police beating that led to Tyree Nichols' death, his mother warned the nation of a horrific sight.
Any of you who have children, please don't let them see it.
She also had a message for the men charged with killing her 29-year-old son.
I want to say to the 5 police officers that murdered my son, you also disgraced your own families.
The former officers involved in the January 7th traffic stop face charges including second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and official misconduct. Family attorney Ben Crump applauded the charges and said they should be a blueprint for the future.
When it's white officers, we think it's also important to the community that there is swift action.
Nichols was pulled over after coming home from a park where his family says he was taking pictures of the sunset. Their attorney says the video shows him calling for his mother during a brutal 3-minute beating.
For a mother to know that their child was calling them in their need and I wasn't there for him, do you know how I feel right now?
FBI Director Christopher Wray says what happened was tragic.
I've seen the video myself, and I will tell you I was appalled.
Local officials decided to wait until evening to release the police footage after schools are out and people are home from work. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Memphis, Tennessee.
The Memphis police chief spoke to CNN's Don Lemon this morning about the 5 former officers charged. She said she expected serious charges after the administrative charges are most severe she's seen in her career.
But they were absolutely appropriate, and I knew that the next step would be in the hands of the DA's office, so I am not surprised.
The police chief was also asked if what we're going to see on the body cam video being released tonight speaks to the officers' charges. Here's what she said.
You're going to see acts that defy humanity. You're going to see a disregard for life, duty of care that we're all sworn to, and a level of physical interaction that is above and beyond what is required in law enforcement.
The Nichols family will hold a funeral for him next week. At a vigil last night, his mother asked for peaceful protests.
Well, back here in D.C., D.C. Police Department has increased security ahead of several planned protests tonight. Last night, crews started putting this fencing up around the U.S. Capitol. Now, this weekend, D.C. police say all sworn officers will be on duty. More than 3,000 officers will be working 12-hour shifts. Demonstrations are being planned right here in the district, and tonight what's being called an emergency protest will take place in front of the White House. Our Bruce LeShan is live at Lafayette Square tonight. And Bruce, walk us through what you're seeing right now and what we can expect later this evening.
Hey, Lorenzo, very much a quiet, peaceful evening so far here in Lafayette Square. You can see there's a little bit potentially signs of a police presence back there along 8th Street. Organizers expected to rally right here starting at 7 o'clock, just about the time that they are planning to release that video in Memphis. And there's also another protest being planned here in D.C. Down at 13th and K at 5:30. It is organized by Harriet's Wildest Dreams, which is a black civil rights group.
MPD has been sanctioned by the courts in the past for arresting people at peaceful free speech protests, but it is clearly gearing up right now for the possibility of trouble. It is out with a statement saying, quote, MPD respects the community's First Amendment right to demonstrate and peacefully protest, but goes on to say, We will not tolerate any unlawful behavior during First Amendment demonstrations, and we will take swift law enforcement action should anyone break the law. At the Capitol, police have installed the shorter barricades around much of the complex and higher fences closer in. MPD is expected to have about 600 extra boots on the ground tonight, including more than 24 platoons from the Civil Disturbance Unit. One officer tells us he has not seen anything like this since January 6th and the Biden inauguration.
Of course, perhaps nowhere in the world has seen more people exercise their right to free speech and free assembly than right here in Washington. The hope, the expectation is, no matter how horrific that video is from Memphis, here they are expecting things will remain peaceful. Zoe and Charlotte, back to you.
Yeah, you said it's peaceful and quiet there right now. And again, hopefully it remains that way through the evening and the weekend. Bruce, thank you. Char?
We are also following breaking news in Northeast D.C. Take a look at this map with me. D.C. police are investigating after they say a teen was shot on 49th Street in Deanwood. This is right across the street from Ron Brown High School. Our John Henry has been out there working his sources for 3 hours now. And John, I understand the school was locked down for some time.
This school and actually another school nearby. As you said, this happened around 2 o'clock this afternoon in Deanwood. And right here behind me, Ron Brown College Preparatory High School found themselves in the middle of it all. The school was placed on lockdown, as you said. It's right across the street from the building where police seem to be focusing a lot of their efforts, specifically this doorway right here. We saw them collecting evidence a little bit earlier here, just about 20 minutes ago. We don't know exactly what they were looking for, but they were placing a lot of attention there. Now, we do know once again that 18 was shot in this incident. They suffered a non-life-threatening injury. Unfortunately, they survived. No word yet if anybody has been taken into custody. This incident ultimately led to the lockdowns of both the elementary school, Houston Elementary, not too far away from here, and Ron Brown for roughly an hour as they sheltered students inside their campuses. Sadly, this wasn't even the first shooting to happen near a school today in D.C. Officials placed 2 other schools in Northwest on alert status after a shooting happened near them as well. Now, just before we hopped on air here today, we decided to take a deep dive into D.C. Police Department data, and we found that through the 60 gun crimes that we have already had this year in the district, at least 12 of them have happened within 2 blocks of a DCPS school building. Guys?
And frightening, as you said, that it is happening right next to schools. And John just mentioned that D.C. police are investigating another shooting tonight near a high school. This one happened at 1 this afternoon on 5th Street near Coolidge High School in Northwest. The victim is a man. He was taken to a hospital and is expected to be okay. Officers are looking for a white Nissan Altima with D.C. tags FK2479.
Well, breaking news out of Jerusalem and one of the deadliest attacks on Israelis in years. Police say at least 7 people were killed and 10 injured when a Palestinian opened fire today on a synagogue. The attack comes as violence in the Israeli-occupied West Bank intensified. A raid by the Israeli military yesterday killed at least 9 people. Israel said it targeted the home of a militant in a refugee camp. The gunman in today's attack on the synagogue was shot dead in a shootout with Israeli police.
A warning tonight for parents in Montgomery County. Some Chevy Chase elementary students say men have been following them home from school, not just once, but several times. Police are reviewing neighborhood cameras as part of their investigation, and the school principal has notified parents. We spoke with one of those parents.
I think parents need to talk to each other, right, and band together to have the kids walk together in teams to school rather than on their own, and maybe do carpools. It seems like maybe the schools can do some sort of coordination of parents.
And police want you to let them know about anything suspicious.
Well, the former president of the Arlington Education Association, who's accused of embezzling more than $400,000, went before a judge for the first time today. Fairfax County Police say Ingrid Gant was the president of AEA for 6 years. Now, Gant failed to provide financial reports and failed to file tax returns. That sparked concerns from board members. She was terminated in March of last year. Well, it's one of the longest prison sentences yet, stemming from the January 6th riot on the Capitol. Just minutes ago, 33-year-old Julianne Cater was ordered to spend the next 80 months in prison, essentially more than 6.5 years. Cater admitted to attacking Officer Brian Sicknick with a chemical spray during the insurrection. The 42-year-old Capitol police officer died of natural causes the next day. An accomplice also pled guilty in the attack. Cater's lawyer blamed former President Donald Trump for lying about the 2020 election and inspiring the anger that fueled that riot. Also, the man who police say threatened to set off a bomb outside the Capitol has pled guilty. Floyd Roseberry was arrested back in August of 2021 after an hours-long standoff outside of the Library of Congress. That evening, or this evening rather, Roseberry agreed to a plea deal with prosecutors. Sentencing is set for June 15th.
Well, turning now to your forecast. It's Friday night and the weather this weekend going to be mostly nice.
Yeah, and we got off to a pretty nice start today.
Yeah.
The Chief Top of Shut is out on the weather terrace. Hey, Top.
Yeah, pretty good day. I mean, a little bit chilly, a little bit breezy, but you know what? It was bright but brisk, and even by January standards, it was not that bad. So, all right, a couple things. We'll talk about the weekend in a minute, but also we'll talk about next week. Colder air comes in, a couple of chances for some winter precip. So let's start with tomorrow. Okay, let's start with Wednesday. This is the European model. Now, it's dry Wednesday morning, cloudy, yes, but dry. Dry just before noon on Wednesday. And then Thursday, notice at 6 o'clock in the morning, it had a little bit of a mix down here that turns to rain and ends up being a mix up here along the border. So that's the Europeans' idea. So mainly rain. A cold rain and pretty good rain. That goes through noon on Thursday and even into Thursday night. So all day Thursday is wet, according to the European model. Different story with the American model. So let me show you this. This is kind of interesting. This is our battle of the models. Look at the GFS has snow south of town next 7 days. Just a trace of snow south of town with the European model. So we're going to come back. We're going to show you the American version of that. Okay, so if you're going out the next 12 hours, yeah, bundle up. Temperatures in the 30s. Good news is winds calming down a little bit. We're back to about 34 by dawn, but even by 7 o'clock, temperatures in the upper 30s. So we'll come back. We'll talk about Thursday, but we'll also talk about Tuesday because the American model has another chance for some winter precip in here on Tuesday.
Uh-oh. Okay, we'll see you back here in a bit. Thank you, Top. In the meantime, some bus riders were stranded this morning. Coming up at 6, we're going to be digging into why they were afraid to board their buses.
And it can be easy to tell if a driver is drunk, but what about high? Tonight, we take you inside a lab where police are learning to spot and stop stoned drivers.
I'm Larry Miller. Coming up next week on Get Up DC. On Monday, we're sharing the story of a homeowner named Mike. He says his home's value was lowballed by a home appraiser because he's gay. We walk you through the whole ordeal. You'll hear from Mike and the home appraiser who denies the allegation. Then on Tuesday, we're talking with a local doctor about immune boosting supplements like vitamin C, even zinc. You may be surprised what he says really is your best option to beat a cold. And Chester is tracking changes that could impact your work week. We hope that you'll get your day started right here on Get Up DC. We're back Monday morning starting at 4:25.
The curtain went up today on a refurbished liquor store in Montgomery County after undergoing an expensive facelift. The Montrose Oak Barrel and Vine opened for business this morning. The upgraded store, located on Rockville Pike, features local products, has 25% more shelf space, and a dedicated tasting area.
This is a big day for us. This is the look of where our stores are going to go. I hope bigger and better everywhere. I just took a brief little look inside, and it is remarkable. I'll stand this store up against anybody else's store.
The local government has sole authority over the sale and distribution of alcohol in Montgomery County. The liquor store in Rockville is the second under the Oak Barrel and Vine brand. The first one is located in the Cabin John Shopping Center in Potomac.
All right, staying in Maryland tonight, starting in July, recreational marijuana will be legal statewide. So Montgomery County Police are learning what they can about spotting stoned drivers. So with the help of volunteers, officers got some firsthand experience with what it's like to be up close with someone who's high. Here's our Casey Nolan.
Oh, nah, is that a seed?
Call it 420.
Yeah, and you're going to smoke it?
Yes. With the 5-0.
Smoking with the police. Smoking with the police, that's right.
Thursday night, Kyrie Maxberry and a dozen or so other medical marijuana card holders
Can I use your lighter?
volunteered to consume cannabis at the Montgomery County Police Department Training Center to help train officers to spot what it looks like when someone is stoned.
I think it's very hard to tell how high somebody is and how that may affect their motor skills.
Are you worried?
I'm very worried because I know unequivocally this is going to increase the amount of impaired drivers we have out in the streets.
In July, recreational marijuana will be legal in Maryland. And with no breathalyzer for cannabis, police are using this training to teach officers how to spot drivers under the influence of the drug.
Maybe their observations in driving, in addition to the observation in driving, what in the field sobriety test is an indicator that they're now under the influence of something that's impairing their ability to be able to drive safely.
Is he impaired?
There are signs that his normal coordination is impaired in a way. There is a lot of factors that go into it, and we really have to look at every case as a whole.
I guess if they're able to shape like what they're looking for a little bit better through these tests, then by doing them over again, conducting them again, I think it should help.
If they determined right now that you were impaired, would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Just like alcohol, the same falls true for cannabis. If you're under the influence, if you consumed it, which you legally can now, it doesn't mean you can legally get behind the wheel of a car and drive.
Casey Nolan, WUSA9.
Love that guy. Are you impaired? Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's pretty evident.
Yes, I am.
What an experiment.
Well,
okay.
what they're going to do is, and I've seen this on social, digital. So, there's a video and there's someone driving.
Yeah.
Very slowly. Okay. And the cop pulls up and rolled down the window, and the woman says, "Officer, can I help you?" And he goes, I think you all might be high. She goes, "No." He goes, "Blow into this." Hands her a kazoo. She blows into that. They all laugh uncontrollably, and they know they're high. Right.
It's like, of course.
Yeah, it's a TikTok. It's one of the funny ones. Okay. I told the other one last night at 11 o'clock, waiting for the stop sign to turn green.
I thought you were going to tell me that one again.
that was
Okay, thanks for keeping it fresh.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we've got a beautiful day and some beautiful pictures from our weather watchers. They do not disappoint.
so nice.
This is Spotsylvania County. Brian, just beautiful, pretty much crystal clear. And Tina in Deal sends us some really good stuff. She sent some great sunrise pictures and some fog pictures about 2 weeks ago. I mean, that is...
What a nice way to start the day for them too.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, wouldn't be. That's nice looking at sunrise over the bay all the time. Yeah, that would be very good.
It's gorgeous.
Okay, so let's talk about highs so far in January. The 18th of January, we were split down the middle. 6 days in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. How have we done since then? Well, we still have not had a day in January at national with highs in the 30s. We've had 12 days in the 40s, 9 days in the 50s, have not tacked on any more, still 6 days in the 60s. But that is an incredibly warm January. And we're on pace for probably top 5 in terms of warm Januaries. Okay, tomorrow, fantastic, if you like that sort of thing. Pleasant. Mild on Sunday, some showers possible in the afternoon, nothing crazy heavy, and nothing that widespread. And then morning clouds on Monday. We're going to keep Monday dry and still mild. So these 3 days are our next 3 mild days. And then a little bit of a pattern change. A little colder air moves in Tuesday through next week. So 53 tomorrow, pleasant. Some afternoon showers on Sunday, just widely scattered. and temperatures still in the low 50s despite the clouds. All right, so this is the American model. So, all right, so we showed you the European model a minute ago, and this is the American. So this is Tuesday morning. I'm going to show you Tuesday. It's cloudy in the morning, but by noon it's breaking out snow south of town down toward Frederick, and that's a pretty dark shade of blue. That's a pretty good area, moderate snow. A mix in D.C. and green along the northern fringe. Now, I don't know about you, but this is sort of counterintuitive because normally that green would be down here and the mix would be there and the snow would be north. Nope. That would be a fine how do you do, wouldn't it, for this winter if it snowed La Plata, Fredericksburg, and not in Gaithersburg and Leesburg. That's noon Tuesday. Now, mind you, the European model I showed you just a minute ago had nothing on Tuesday. I didn't show you it on Tuesday. Even by 4:30, it still has some snow in southern Maryland and across into Fredericksburg. Now, get to Thursday morning. So both models see something on Thursday, only the American sees it on Tuesday. So this is rain. This is Thursday morning, about 6 o'clock. But it, too, brings more snow just up to D.C. and south around 11:30 at noon. That's, that's interesting. Remember, the European had rain everywhere, okay, everywhere. And then by 3:30, still some snow, southern Maryland and Fredericksburg. This is Thursday now, and dry in D.C. and dry points north. Then we began to clear out. That's just crazy, I think. So the European model on Wednesday, again, nothing. Here comes the rain on Thursday. I mean, how much different could that be? That's just night and day in terms of coverage and in terms of type. So the European model, you might expect has very little snow, but the GFS has some accumulating snow south of D.C., down towards southern Maryland and into Fredericksburg. Again, wouldn't that be a fine how do you do? Yeah. Ashley, I know we're streamcasting here. You want me to finish now? Because I'll just keep going. You want me to finish? Huh?
Go ahead. Why not? Finish
you know
up.
What? We love to hear you talk about your passion.
I'll do a couple more things here. Here's Futurecast. If you're out late tonight, bundle up. Temperatures in the low 30s. Tomorrow morning, upper 20s to low 30s to start. And then we're back in the 30s to around 40 by 9 o'clock. And then we're in the 50s. Now, there'll be a few clouds coming in tomorrow, but still a gorgeous day. Billy Goat Trail, whatever you want to do. A little jog, a little bike ride. You can do that too. I got one more thing I want to show. I'm sorry. Well, I got a couple things I want to show.
Can you tell me about the next 5 days, please?
Let's do that, yeah. We got those 3 days in the 50s, and then it gets cold. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I mean, relatively cold. I mean, it's all relative this year. We get into Thursday, we're in the 40s. But next weekend, we are in the 30s, and that is recycle day. But I know that looks bad, but that's good news because it was, the weather was really bad before.
I mean, I'd take the 53, like tomorrow.
Right, that's good news. Pickleball forecast tomorrow, got to get to that. Too cold in the morning. Who wants to get up at 7 o'clock and play pickleball anyway? But then noon, it's okay, and nice at 5 o'clock, winds under 10 miles an hour. You're in pretty good shape. Okay, I'll finish up here soon, Ashley. 53 tomorrow, 52 on Sunday, some showers, morning clouds Monday. We'll keep Monday dry. Tuesday, I got to keep a chance of some snow. And then dry on Wednesday, maybe some snow on Thursday, but as you saw, a better chance south. And then colder. Next Friday, we will hold in the 30s.
Okay. That's all you got?
Yeah, I'm done.
You sure?
Well, I can go through it again if you want.
Okay, no, we're good.
We're
We'll
all
see you back
set.
here in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom. So get this, in Greene County, Virginia, a man is becoming famous for his facial hair.
Yep, Bob Baker has been winning competitions for that stash.
Huh?
He won a contest last year in the National Beard and Mustache Championships.
Oh, that's suave.
It's a big deal. He also won a contest 2 years ago as a rookie in the freestyle category.
When they said, winner Robert Baker, I almost fell out of my chair. I was definitely surprised because it was my first nationals I had ever competed in.
Never heard of such a thing.
Wow. Baker has attracted 1.3 million followers on TikTok. We know Top likes TikTok. That's a big deal, 1.3 million.
Yeah, he says about 35 different companies have sent him products to test out, to get feedback, and to share his thoughts online. It looks pretty good, though, on him.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that there was a rookie category in the competition. Like, okay, it's
gotta
serious
work
business,
on
yeah. All right, still ahead here tonight. A pair of conjoined twin girls have been successfully separated in a historic surgery. Tonight, their parents share their journey of a medical miracle.
And at 5:55, we verify the pros and cons of a 4-day work week.
Here at WUSA9, the environment matters, and that's why we're holding another Recycling Day event.
About 75% of the waste here in the U.S. can be recycled, and recycling reduces greenhouse gases. That's great for the environment.
We're going to be collecting electronics like cables and monitors and computer mice.
Yeah, we'll also be securely shredding your paper, so bring us those sensitive documents you don't need anymore. WUSA9's Recycling Day is happening Saturday, February 4th from 7 a.m. until noon. We'll be here at RFK's Festival Grounds in Lot 8 at Westfield Montgomery Mall and the Washington Gas Springfield Operations Center.
I'd love to see you. Come out, meet the team, and make an impact.
Recycle Day is sponsored by your Washington area Toyota dealers and Washington Gas.
All right, you got to check this out now. It will certainly pull at your heartstrings. A family in Texas facing a huge challenge after the birth of their conjoined twin daughters. Jamie Lynn and Amy Lynn Finley were born in October, connected at the abdomen, sharing a single liver. Now this week, a medical team was finally ready to try this dangerous separation surgery. Here's Omar Villafranca on their incredible effort.
She was like doing the ultrasound, and then she was looking and she's like, oh, there's the baby's head. And I was like, well, if that's the baby's head, I was like, what's that? She's like, that's the other baby's head.
Yeah, we were like,
I was like, what?
James Finley and Amanda Arcianiega are the proud parents of two tiny miracles. But when doctors told the North Texas couple the twins were conjoined from the breastbone to the belly button, they were terrified.
on the ride home, we were like quiet. And it was kind of sad. We were like thinking, why us?
It's an extremely rare condition with a high death rate.
Conjoined twins that reach and stay viable after birth, at least for the first few days, there's really only about 5 to 8 of those per year.
Born last October, baby girls Jamie Lynn and Amy Lynn were lucky just to survive birth. Then, Dr. Jose Iglesias and his team at Cook Children's Medical Center had to figure out how to surgically separate them.
First one for me, first one in a 105-year history of Cook Children's Medical Center.
The procedure required months of planning.
We'll do one baby, re-prep, do the other baby.
Dr. Iglesias and his team even built models of the twins' anatomy, mapped out surgical plans, and choreographed every move they would need to make. And this past Monday, the big day finally arrived. The doctors broke up into purple and green teams, and the girls' nails were painted in coordinating colors to help differentiate them.
You set? Set. A, B, set.
From there, 3 anesthesiologists, 4 pediatric surgeons, 2 plastic surgeons, and 18 other clinical professionals worked methodically, first to separate the twins and then to close up their wounds.
Slowly, slowly.
After an 11-hour procedure and after months and months of waiting, James and Amanda finally got the news they were waiting for.
You have 2 babies on 2 separate beds.
You know, something like this, I'll be brutally honest with you, there is no playbook.
Wednesday, the medical team behind the surgery announced their success to the world.
They're going to grow up into the little girls that they're supposed to be.
Twins have a special bond, but these little girls now share something else. They're part of a medical miracle.
When they get older, how are you going to teach them to share?
I don't know. Like they said, there's no playbook.
Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Fort Worth, Texas.
How wonderful.
Man, so glad the Finleys there defying the odds.
Incredible.
And kudos to the medical professionals,
Absolutely.
the doctors and surgeons.
11 hours.
Yeah, and getting that playbook down to like painting their nails as well, just to make sure this was a success. Great job there. All right, right now on WUSA9 News at 5:30, tensions are rising across America. In a little under 2 hours, body camera video of police beating Tyree Nichols will be released. Those who have seen the video already compare it to the 1991 Los Angeles police beating of Rodney King. Well, tonight, 5 now former officers are facing charges. Chris Wynn is in Memphis, Tennessee with the latest.
One officer kicked him like he was kicking a football.
You're going to see acts that defy humanity.
That's how Tyree Nichols' stepfather and the Memphis police chief described the disturbing video that shows the fatal police encounter that led to the firing and arrest of 5 black police officers. The video expected to be publicly released for the first time Friday evening. 29-year-old Nichols was pulled over in a traffic stop on January 7th that ultimately led to a deadly beating. He would die 3 days later in the hospital. The Memphis police chief says they have not been able to find probable cause for the traffic stop, which the former officers involved said was for reckless driving.
We've been unable to substantiate that at this time.
5 officers have been charged with second-degree murder, along with several other charges.
I think people can draw their own conclusions, but I don't imagine there'll be a lot of perceived ambiguity.
Nichols' mother says she has not been able to bring herself to watch the video.
From what I hear, it's horrific. And the humanity of it all. Where was the humanity? They beat my son like a piñata.
But the victim's family says they want this footage seen by the public.
Hopefully from this situation that we have reform, that police get better training.
In Memphis, I'm Chris Wynn.
Just awful. Well, the National Archives is casting a wider net to find classified documents. A letter was sent to former presidents and vice presidents asking them to check their records for anything marked classified. The appeal comes after sensitive secret documents were found at the homes of President Biden, former President Donald Trump, and former Vice President Mike Pence. Following the discoveries, Senate investigators are pressing for more information.
The notion that we're going to be left in limbo and we can't do our job, that just cannot stand.
If in fact those documents were very sensitive, materials were sensitive, then the intelligence agencies are tasked with the job of coming up with ways to mitigate that.
A special counsel has been appointed to investigate how the classified documents ended up in the possession of President Biden and Donald Trump. It's unclear whether the Department of Justice will intensify its focus on former Vice President Pence.
Well, the live look at the White House now, where President Joe Biden has announced there will be a new White House chief of staff next week. Ron Klain will step down after 2 years in the job. He'll be replaced by Jeff Zients. The president thanked Klain and his family in statements earlier today. Now, Biden said when speaking about Zients is that he is confident that Jeff will continue Ron's example of smart, steady leadership. There will be an official transition event at the White House next week.
Breaking in just the last 30 minutes, a judge handed down a sentencing for one of the Capitol riot suspects who admitted to attacking Capitol Police officer Brian Sicknick. Julian Cater of Pennsylvania will go to prison for more than 6 years after he pleaded guilty to felony charges. Video shows him and George Tanios of West Virginia, who pleaded to misdemeanors attacking Sicknick. The 42-year-old officer died the next day after suffering a series of strokes. Tributes poured in to honor him. Investigative reporter Jordan Fisher is live outside the federal courthouse in the district. And Jordan, we've heard the courtroom was full for this hearing, as I can imagine. Who came to watch today, and what was the mood like there?
That's right. We saw dozens of United States Capitol Police officers come to the courthouse today. They filled the main courtroom. They filled a good portion of an overflow courtroom. And what they wanted to see was not only the judge's sentence today, but the statements that Officer Sicknick's family made. 5 members of his family, his mother, 2 of his brothers, his sister-in-law Nicole, and his longtime partner Sandra Garza, all made statements, powerful, raw, emotional. His brothers talked about watching their parents age a decade in the last 2 years. And his sister-in-law Nicole talked about how important this family had been to her. She married into this family, how they sort of saved her almost. And she told Julian Cater today in court that he had destroyed the heart of this family that she had come to love so much.
And I understand that Julian Cater also gave a statement to the judge. What did he have to say today?
Yeah, Mr. Cater did give a brief written statement today. He expressed how long and agonizing and humbling his more than 680 days in pretrial detention have been here at the D.C. jail. He said that he has prayed and prayed and prayed for the people affected by the Capitol riot. He said that the families and the officers shouldn't have had to go through that, but he also didn't mention Officer Sicknick or Officer Carolyn Wren, another officer he pleaded guilty to assaulting, by name. Judge Hogan called him out on that and said he didn't think he'd really expressed remorse. He said he thought it felt very self-centered. Now, Mr. Cater did come back and say that the reason he didn't do that is because he's now facing a civil suit accusing him of wrongfully contributing to Officer Sicknick's death.
And sentenced to 80 months in prison. How does his sentence compare to others that we've seen?
So that's one of the longest sentences we've seen to date. The longest so far is 10 years. That was a former NYPD officer who assaulted a police officer. But Mr. Cater is going to be serving, just 7 months less than Guy Reffitt, who our viewers may recall was the first Capitol riot defendant to go to trial. This is even longer than many of the other assault sentences we've seen, and part of that is because Julian Cater was accused of assaulting at least 3 different officers. He pleaded guilty to assaulting 2 of them. Of course, one of them was Officer Sicknick, who did go on to die a day later of natural causes. So a very significant prison sentence, although he will receive credit for the 2 years that he's already served.
And I can imagine an emotional day for Sicknick's family. Thank you, Jordan, so much for being there.
All right, this is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Historians are turning to technology to make sure people do not forget the horrors and the slaughter of more than 6 million Jews. 78 years after the liberation of the Nazi death camp in Auschwitz, virtual reality is teaching young people about this dark chapter in history.
You need to watch it, and when you watch it, it's like a nightmare that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, so far more than a dozen people have shared their memories of the Holocaust, and engineers are hoping to capture many more for future generations.
We're keeping a close eye at the price at the pump. Well, if it seems like you're paying more for gas, you are. AAA said Friday the national average for regular gas has jumped to $3.50 a gallon. That's a 12-cent increase from just last week and a 40-cent increase over the past month. Experts say the rise is unusual for this time of year. Prices are usually lower during winter weather, keeping more people off the roads.
Yeah, and as gas prices continue to fluctuate here in the U.S., a viral photo claiming to show significantly lower gas prices in the UK has some people actually thinking about moving. But Adiande Till verifies why that photo is just a bit misleading.
The average price for a gallon of gas in the U.S. is $3.42, according to AAA. Meanwhile, across the pond in the United Kingdom, you can fill up for much cheaper, according to a viral photo. But is that true? Let's verify. Our sources are the Federal Reserve currency exchange rate for pound sterling to dollar, AAA, and Google Maps. Using Google Maps Street View, Verify confirmed that the photo shows gas prices at a BP station in London, England. In the UK, fuel is sold by the litre, and the currency is the pound sterling. So to convert that sign into dollars per gallon, we're going to have to do some math. First, there are 3.785 liters in 1 gallon. Second, as of January 20th, 1 pound sterling equals $1.24. The price of gas in the photo is £1.51 per liter, which is equal to $1.87 per liter using the current exchange rate. Multiply that by 3.785, the number of liters in a gallon, and boom, we get a whopping $7.08 per gallon of regular unleaded gas. And that is actually twice as much per gallon than here in the U.S. So we can verify, no, gas prices aren't cheaper in the United Kingdom. This image shows the price of fuel in British pounds per liter and not dollars per gallon. With your Verify, I'm Adiande Till.
Well, by the end of this weekend, we'll know which teams are playing in the Super Bowl. The NFC Championship game is Sunday afternoon. The 49ers traveling here to the East Coast to face the Eagles. San Francisco played a close, low-scoring game last week, beating the Cowboys by a touchdown, while Philly blew out the Giants. CBS Sports' Jim Nantz talked about 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy on CBS Mornings.
When the season began, no one, and Nate, you and I, we follow this thing so closely. No one knew who Brock Purdy was. So, yes, the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, could come into being the most relevant guy of all. Who knows? But going into Philadelphia, they are playing so well in every single facet. They've got home field. That San Francisco defense, it's a great matchup. I don't know. I mean, Purdy right now, it's beyond description. He's on his way to maybe seizing that starting quarterback role at San Francisco for years to come.
Really is an incredible story there with Brock Purdy. Well, Nance will call the AFC Championship game from Kansas City. So where so far the big story is Patrick Mahomes' ankle. Yeah, Kansas City's star quarterback suffered a high ankle sprain in last Saturday's divisional round. After leaving the field, he played in the second half with a very heavy tape job. Mahomes was at yesterday's practice but didn't appear to be a full participant. But he says he got in the reps he needed, and he says he will play on Sunday against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. The AFC Championship game is a rematch of last year's AFC title game. Cincinnati beat KC 27-24 in overtime. And you can watch that AFC Championship game right here Sunday night. The NFL Today starts at 6, followed by CBS game coverage at 6:30. Well, the bond between a mother and daughter is tested when they tackle the entire Appalachian Trail together. We'll get into their amazing journey after the break.
Then this is a different kind of bond. Meet the Chambers. They've been married for 80 years. So, of course, we had to find out how they manage that, what works, what doesn't. We'll talk more about it in just a few minutes. Hey, Tom.
Right now, in fact, lows tonight will be in the 20s in the suburbs. Haven't seen that too often in January. Low 30s downtown, 34 downtown, but 29 in Frederick and 28 in Leesburg, even 27 in Manassas. We'll come back. We'll talk about the weekend. One day is better than the other, and we'll look ahead to the chances for some winter precip next week.
Buses were no-shows for some early morning commuters in southern Maryland this morning. I'm Scott Broom in Capitol Heights. Coming up, I'll explain how 2 aggressive loose guard dogs here at the bus company resulted in drivers who couldn't get out on time.
Here at WUSA9, the environment matters, and that's why we're holding another Recycling Day event.
About 75% of the waste here in the U.S. can be recycled, and recycling reduces greenhouse gases. That's great for the environment.
We're going to be collecting electronics like cables and monitors and computer mice.
Yeah, we'll also be securely shredding your paper, so bring us those sensitive documents you don't need anymore. WUSA9's Recycling Day is happening Saturday, February 4th from 7 a.m. until noon. We'll be here at RFK's Festival Grounds in Lot 8 at Westfield Montgomery Mall and the Washington Gas Springfield Operations Center.
I'd love to see you. Come out, meet the team, and make an impact.
Recycle Day is sponsored by your Washington area Toyota dealers and Washington Gas.
It's hard to imagine the bond between a mother and daughter growing any closer, but a journey of a lifetime did just that for this duo. Here's Janet Shamlin.
It's day 17!
When Greta Utton's travel partner backed out of hiking the Appalachian Trail, her 66-year-old mother, Susan, stepped in.
Did you have any idea everything that was involved?
No, totally clueless. I had no idea it was like climbing up and down mountains the whole way.
It's day 122.
For 5 months, through 14 states, almost 2,200 miles.
When she suggested, hey, I'll do it with you, any trepidation on your part?
Oh yes, 100%. She has got to be the most accident-prone person on this planet.
Oh, we made it to the ER.
There were mishaps.
Mom fell and hit her head again.
But the team, resilient.
The thought of giving up never entered my head.
The trip had greater purpose, fundraising for Parkinson's disease in honor of Greta's father and Susan's husband, Ron. As meaningful, what others did for them.
We stayed in the homes of 25 different people who we had not met before doing the trail.
Yeah. It's such a great experience. I mean, we feel so blessed to have had the opportunity.
And the joy of this reunion at Trail's End. The man in their heart, every step of the way. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Minneapolis.
I mean, that is incredible. Dedication, more than 100 days.
How can you not be closer after something like that, you know?
That's actually a pretty quick speed for 2,200 miles.
Yeah.
And she had to go to the hospital a few times, it looked like.
But it was no big deal, apparently. Mom
Oh,
fell
yeah,
and
you know.
kept moving.
Mom's bleeding. Get up. Let's go. We got a schedule to maintain here. Wow. Okay.
Good for them.
Yeah. All right. So we've had a warm January.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we have.
In New Zealand, they've had a wet January. Okay.
Oh.
Check this out. So in an hour, they had about 2.7 inches of rain. And so far for the month, they've had about almost 10 inches of rain. And that's pretty much it's triple their monthly rainfall. And it's gaining on their average annual rainfall.
That looks rough.
Yeah. So that's, you don't do well with a lot of heavy rain quickly. The soil just can't,
look how they're doing. Yeah, even
down.
right here, they're just.
So there you have it. We, on the other hand, well, we've had a warm January, not a terribly wet January either, actually. Right now we're looking at temperatures a little bit colder than they were this time 24 hours ago. That is in blue, so not much colder. We're 5 degrees colder. No 50s today. We held in the 40s. Look at the warmer air back to the west, though. 6 degrees warmer in Columbus the past 24 hours and 15 degrees warmer in Lexington. Guess what? That's going that way for tomorrow. We will be in the 50s tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow will be a pretty good day to go on the Billy Goat Trail. Don't fall down and hit your head, but good day to go on the trail. Mild on Sunday. Some showers possible late, not worthy of a weather watch alert. And then morning clouds on Monday. We'll keep Monday dry for now. Could be some showers in southern Maryland, but mainly morning clouds and still mild. So we have 3 mild days in a row. But this is the pick of the weekend tomorrow, 53. Fantastic. Some showers possible on Sunday, but late. The morning will be dry and temperatures still in the low 50s despite all the clouds. Okay, let's move ahead till Tuesday, all right? And this is 7 a.m. and this is the American model. Some snow west of the divide. But look what happens. By noon, it's got snow in blue here, La Plata down to Fredericksburg. Kind of crazy. A little bit of a mix to D.C., but nothing Leesburg, Gaithersburg. This may be a case where it kind of skirts to the south. And then by 4:30, still some snow in southern Maryland, nothing to the north. A little bit of snow out toward Luray, and then that goes away. Now we go to Thursday. Now we see rain on Thursday morning. This looks more like the European model. This is just updated. This is about 15 minutes old, really. And by the time we get to 11:30 on Thursday morning, showers moving east of I-95 began to dry out. And then by the time we get to 3:30, some sunshine returns. Again, this is the American model, and it's just updated. Okay, let's talk about snow potential. This is European model on the right and the American model on the left. Now, because they just updated, they look pretty similar. Remember, the American model had some accumulating snow down toward La Plata and Fredericksburg. That is now gone at this hour. So let's talk about tonight. We're looking at low to mid 30s by 11 o'clock. A little bit breezy, so a little chilly if you're going to go outside and just walk around to dinner or a movie. We're looking at temps eventually upper 20s for lows, north and west of town, and about 34 downtown. By mid-morning, You know, sunshine, temperatures upper 30s, low 40s. So as nice as tomorrow's going to be, we can't lose sight of the fact it's going to be cold to start tomorrow morning. By 1 o'clock, we're back in the 50s, 50 in Hagerstown, 54 Manassas, 53, 54 in D.C., despite the clouds. And then by 6 p.m. this time tomorrow night, we're in the 40s and not quite as cold tomorrow night. If you're headed out on Saturday night, it'll be dry. By 11 o'clock, we're in the upper 30s to around 40 downtown. By Sunday morning, clouds come back. So we're going to just say Sunday's going to be mostly cloudy, but we're dry in the morning. And by the time we get to the afternoon, yeah, some showers are possible, but nothing heavy and nothing widespread. So here are our 3 mild days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're in the 50s. Let me go back to the low 40s on Tuesday, mid 40s on Wednesday. So both models agree that it's going to get colder starting on Tuesday. They sort of diverge a little bit on how much precipitation we're going to have with that cold air. Next Friday, really cold, upper 30s. Saturday, very cold, one of our coldest days so far, mid 30s, and then warming up just a bit by the following Monday. So that is recycle day. We'll watch that carefully. Right now, just cold and dry. When you come to the recycle locations, you don't have to get out of your car, so you'll stay warm. We'll be the ones getting cold, so come on out. Low 50s tomorrow, low 50s on Sunday, a couple showers late. Morning clouds Monday, but we'll keep Monday dry. Tuesday, I'll keep it in. Morning snow possible. We'll check back at 11, though, because I may take it out if the next run has it gone. Clouds on Wednesday evening. Maybe some morning snow on Thursday or a mix. Now it looks more like rain. And then colder on Friday with highs holding in the upper 30s.
Well, this is pretty sweet. A couple in Maryland will celebrate their 80th anniversary on Saturday. Megan Rivers sat down with them to find out their secret to success.
I just didn't pay him any attention.
Geraldine Chambers giggles as she reflects on her marriage to her husband, Willie. It's been nearly a century since they met.
I've known her ever since she's around 4 years old.
Willie is 99 and his sassy bride is 98 years young. Mr. Chambers remembers the moment he finally mustered up the courage to share his feelings.
As memory served me, on a fifth Sunday.
In the late 1930s, church and school was the only place the two could snag a glimpse of each other. Mrs. Chambers, well, she didn't make it too easy.
One of my classmates told me, there's somebody that wants to talk to you. I said, who? That's all right. Don't worry about who. You'll find out.
In his wife, Mr. Chambers says he's found what God intended for him to have. And the last 8 decades was a choice he made every day.
Well, when you have a helper and very persuasive, it's not hard.
So what's the secret to longevity?
I dare not tell you.
But in any relationship,
the marriage hasn't always been cream and honey.
You find something about your mate that you can't live without.
One thing I love about her, she's bossy.
I'm glad you said that.
I don't know, she grows on you.
And they say you realize that's the secret.
The world is hers as far as I'm concerned.
And doing life only makes sense with each other.
I guess I love her because she's Geraldine.
You could just feel the love, can't you?
That's
After
amazing.
so many years. I love what Mrs. Chambers said. What's the secret to their longevity? I dare not tell you.
But she's bossy. The couple has 2 daughters, 6 grandchildren, 13 great-grandchildren, and 8 great-great-grandchildren.
All right, so speaking of love, are you a cheese lover?
Oh, absolutely.
You're a cheese lover? Okay, this could be your dream job, for real. The website Sleep Junkie is looking for 5 dairy dreamers, that's what they're called, to test the theory that eating cheese before going to sleep gives you nightmares. Do you have any experience with this
I had no idea this was a thing. Well, here's the job. Eat cheese every night at the same time before going to sleep and journal about how well you slept and any dreams or nightmares you may have had. Tasters should eat the same kind of cheese every night for a week and then take a week off before trying a new variety. You have to be over 21 to eat cheese, have a device that tracks sleep, and be able to sleep alone during the trial.
Whoa.
Okay.
You're asking for a lot.
You also can't have any sleep issues. I thought that they do have sleep issues. Okay. And you have to not be lactose intolerant because that would be a problem as well.
A big problem. Yeah, talk about nightmares, huh? After 3 months, dairy dreamers will be paid $1,000. And just in case you're wondering, you will be reimbursed for the cheese. No interest, I take it?
No, I'm
Based
good.
on your cadence there.
I'm all set. I'm good. I'll just, chow down on cheese when I want to and not have nightmares. Well, tonight we want to show some love to our scientists. Emily Ocasio of the New School of Northern Virginia in Fairfax and Ethan Zhao of McLean High School both have been named finalists in one of the country's most prestigious science and math competitions for high school seniors.
Yeah, it's called the Regeneron Science Talent Search, and Emily's work draws from artificial intelligence to examine hidden biases in media coverage. Ethan's project is looking into a mathematical theory behind machine learning.
Very impressive. Well, up next, how does a 4-day work week sound? I think pretty good. But some say not so fast. After the break, we verify the pros and cons of shrinking your days in the office.
And then we're following some breaking news in Northwest D.C. We'll tell you more about that coming up after the break.
Here at WUSA9, the environment matters, and that's why we're holding another Recycling Day event.
About 75% of the waste here in the U.S. can be recycled, and recycling reduces greenhouse gases. That's great for the environment.
We're going to be collecting electronics like cables and monitors and computer mice.
Yeah, we'll also be securely shredding your paper, so bring us those sensitive documents you don't need anymore. WUSA9's Recycling Day is happening Saturday, February 4th from 7 a.m. until noon. We'll be here at RFK's Festival Grounds in Lot 8 at Westfield Montgomery Mall and the Washington Gas Springfield Operations Center.
I'd love to see you. Come out, meet the team, and make an impact.
Recycle Day is sponsored by your Washington area Toyota dealers and Washington Gas.
We're following some breaking news right now in Northwest D.C. Let's take you live to a rally on 13th and K Streets. Again, this is in Northwest.
Yeah, protesters there are gathering ahead of the release of police body cam video. Officials in Tennessee say shows the deadly beating of Tyree Nichols by Memphis police. We will take it live as soon as it begins. Again, that video expected to be released about 7 o'clock this evening.
And this is one of many planned protests throughout the country later tonight. All right, so on a different note tonight, Shara, how does a 4-day work week sound?
4 days? Yep, I'll take it.
Yeah, this week we told you about a proposal to make it reality in Maryland, and it sounds good in theory, but Abby Larico is here to verify some of the pros and, yes, cons about shrinking your working days.
Imagine waking up this morning and your work week already being over. Sounds like a dream to me, especially if it means sleeping in. So we checked out a few studies actually researching the impacts of a shortened work week. Now, off the top, we will acknowledge one of these is done by the 4-Day Week Global Foundation, so they're very much for it, but they still have some interesting insight to offer. Last year, 27 companies switched to working 4 8-hour days, a 32-hour work week, for a 6-month trial. And researchers found, for the most part, they were just as productive as during a 5-day, 40-hour work week. 25 of the 27 companies considered keeping the 4-day work week, rating the experience overwhelmingly positive. 97% of employees gave the short work week a big thumbs up, touting the benefits of a better work-life balance, less burnout, and higher job satisfaction. But some people, like hourly workers, need to work a 40-hour week to get paid for a full week. So what about the 4 10-hour workday model? This study found that can actually be problematic for employees because working for 10 hours or more can lead to fatigue, and fatigue can lead to decline in productivity and wear on mental health. The study recommends allowing employees to opt into this kind of schedule if they want it. But here's my personal caveat to that study. It's out of New Zealand. Here in the U.S., a lot of us work 10+ hours a day already anyway. And the study reported that some people did enjoy that extra day off. Bottom line here is there's just not a lot of research into this, but all points to consider if you are considering a schedule change.
Yeah, like Abby said, this study is from New Zealand, and you know, obviously it's a lot different here. So when we saw that, oh, maybe going from 8 hours to 10 hours, we're like, a lot of people do that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'd like to have my days spread out over time. I can take a 4-day work week.
Yeah, we want that.
Yeah.
For the bosses listening.
Hint,
Well, we are going to say goodnight. I'm going to say goodnight. That does it for the news at 5. But the news at 6 starts right now with this guy.
Happening right now at 6, investigators will be releasing body camera video showing the moment a man was brutally beat by police in Memphis.
No mother should go through what I'm going through right now.
What we know about the death of Tyre Nichols and how people in D.C. are planning to respond. Also, a terminally ill woman tells WUSA9 she'll move to D.C. if Virginia lawmakers don't act on medically assisted death. She shares her fight to die with dignity.
We'll have an updated forecast on the weekend, tell you which day you can actually get outside, and new model data on next week. We have not 1 but 2 chances for some snow.
And commuters in Maryland are wondering who let the dogs out. Seriously, dogs interrupted bus service this morning. We'll get into that. Live from the district, this is WUSA9 News at 6. And first at 6 tonight, emotions are high as we await the release of disturbing new video. In less than an hour now, the world will get to see police body cam video officials in Tennessee say show 5 officers beating a man all over a traffic stop. Tyre Nichols died at the hospital 3 days later. The Shelby County District Attorney says that video will be released at 7 o'clock tonight, our time. Thank you for being here with us on WUSA9+. I'm Lorenzo Hall. Now, people who have seen the video compared it to the 1991 Los Angeles police beating of Rodney King. Nichols' mother says she cannot bring herself to watch that video.
I was telling someone that I had this really bad pain in my stomach earlier, not knowing what had happened. But once I found out what happened, that was my son's pain that I was feeling. And I didn't even know. But for me to find out that my son was calling my name and I was only feet away and did not even hear him, you have no clue how I feel right now. No clue.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Right now, the 5 officers involved in Tyre's death are out on bail awaiting trial for second-degree murder. Tyre died on January 10th. The officers were fired on January 20th and charged on January 26th. Tyre's family's attorney, Ben Crump, says Memphis officials' swift action after his death should become the national norm.
We want to proclaim that this is the blueprint going forward for any time, any officers, whether they be black or white, will be held accountable. No longer can you tell us we got to wait 6 months to a year, even though we got a video with evidence of the excessive force and the crime. No more can you tell us that anymore, because with these 5 black officers, you all moved it swiftly.
You know, when tragedies like this happen, it's natural to want to do something, to want to have your voice heard. And tonight, after that video is released, there are protests planned across the country, including a few right here in our area. Here's Tyre's father's message to the people planning to take to the streets tonight.
We want peace. We do not want any type of uproar. We do not want any type of disturbance. We want peaceful protests. That's what the family wants. That's what the community wants.
Now tonight there are at least 2 protests planned in the district. They're happening within blocks of each other. The one at Lafayette Square and Black Lives Matter Plaza starts at 7 o'clock. The other already underway at Franklin Park on 13th Street and K Street in Northwest. Let's take you live to that rally right now on 13th and K. Again in Northwest, people are speaking. If we can't pull that up right now, let's listen in. All right, it looks like we don't have that audio right now, but let me tell you this. DC police telling us tonight they're ready for anything that could happen during these protests. As you can see here, in just a minute, they put up barricades around the Capitol overnight. We were telling you about that last night on the news at 11 o'clock. Our Bruce LeShan is live at Lafayette Square with more on MPD's preparations.
Very much quiet and peaceful at this point here in Lafayette Square. Organizers expected to rally right here starting at 7 o'clock. Just about the time they are expecting to release that video in Memphis.
MPD has been sanctioned by the courts in the past for arresting people at peaceful free speech protests, but it is clearly gearing up right now for the possibility of trouble. It is out with a statement saying, quote, MPD respects the community's First Amendment right to demonstrate and peacefully protest, but goes on to say, we will not tolerate any unlawful behavior during First Amendment demonstrations, and we will take swift law enforcement action should anyone break the law. At the Capitol, police have installed the shorter barricades around much of the complex and higher fences closer in. MPD is expected to have about 600 extra boots on the ground tonight, including more than 24 platoons from the Civil Disturbance Unit. One officer tells us he has not seen anything like this since January 6th and the Biden inauguration.
Probably nowhere else in the world has seen more people exercise their right to free speech and free assembly than right here in Washington, D.C. The hope and the expectation is that no matter how horrific that video is released in Memphis, the demonstrations here will remain peaceful. In Lafayette Square, Bruce LeShan, WUSA9.
Well, tonight, a terminally ill woman tells us she wants to choose her own end-of-life journey. Virginia lawmakers put off acting on a bill that would allow medically assisted death in the Commonwealth. Our Katie Lusso sat down with a woman from Falls Church who says she's now considering moving to D.C., where it is legal, all to avoid suffering.
And we went up to New York City. This is a good album to look at.
Memories.
She left her phone in a yellow cab.
Lots and lots of memories.
I've lived my whole life.
A life that Barbara Green says changed in July when she was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
One day I was perfectly well, and the next day I was a cancer victim.
Doctors told her she only had 8 to 11 months to live.
Nobody can tell me what's going to happen to me except that this cancer will kill me.
It's that in-between part that scares her and why she hoped Senate Bill 930 would pass. It would allow medically assisted death, meaning a dying patient could be prescribed a controlled substance to end their life in what supporters call a humane and dignified manner. But Tuesday, it was voted down.
It's not compatible with the physician role as healer.
One doctor who testified during the hearing called it unethical and expressed concerns that it would be abused or used on people suffering from disabilities.
If they oppose it, they don't have to use it. Nobody has to participate in it if they don't want to. But the people who want this option, they should have this option.
Sean Crowley is with the organization Compassion and Choices, advocates for improving care options for the end of life. He recently lost his mother.
She was desperate for help to end her suffering, and I couldn't give it to her, and it was heartbreaking.
Barbara now plans to move to D.C. in the next couple of months, one place where medically assisted death is legal.
It's not like I want to be dead. I want to be alive. I'm doing this chemotherapy because I want to stay alive. If it gets to the situation where I can't eat and I can't drink and I can't swallow and I'm just suffering, why would I want to continue?
But until then, she's living her life and hopes her story encourages others to do the same.
Nobody knows when they're going to get hit with something like this. I happen to have lived most of my life already, but someone your age can get hit with this as well.
Now, this legislation, it could be considered again in the future, but Barbara says she'll likely no longer be with us when that happens, which is why she's moving to D.C. Medically assisted death is legal in 10 states along with the district. There are a lot of protocols with this, and we're going to post more of that info on our website, WUSA9.com.
And that was our Katie Lusso reporting. Now, we do want to tell you about an important exhibit that has just opened at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library in Northwest D.C. It's called Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley, Let the World See. It tells the story of Emmett Till. Back in 1955, the 14-year-old was kidnapped at gunpoint, beaten, and murdered after being accused of flirting with a white woman in Mississippi. His mother insisted on an open casket funeral to expose the brutality to which her son had been subjected. Outrage over Emmett Till's death served as a catalyst for the civil rights movement. That exhibit will be on display, by the way, through March 12th, and I should let you know it is recommended for visitors ages 10 and older. Well, right now, Montgomery County Police want you to take a close look at these surveillance pictures here. They say these two men stole items out of a delivery truck in Rockville. Investigators say the driver was making a delivery when the thieves broke in the truck and stole several packages. A third man acted as a lookout during the theft earlier this month on Bow Avenue. A $10,000 reward is being offered for any information leading to an arrest. All right, attention, if you see this bug right here, kill it. That's the message from Fairfax County park officials. Now, this beautiful bug is called a spotted lanternfly. And while it is pretty, they can also be invasive. They came from Asia, and their voracious appetite makes them a major threat to our plants and even local wineries. Experts say they especially love to eat one particular plant. It's called Tree of Heaven. To help Fairfax County Park Foundation squash this problem, Dominion Energy donated $20,000 to help both remove the bug and Trees of Heaven, Blake Lane Park, and plant new seedlings there instead.
The idea is with removing Ailanthus or Tree of Heaven, we're potentially reducing the spread of the spotted lanternfly into new areas.
Well, Fairfax Park authorities recommend homeowners get rid of Trees of Heaven from their yard to squash the lanternfly problem altogether. So here's how to spot those plants. Tree of Heaven, also known, you can see right here, it has smooth, very pale gray bark, fuzzy reddish brown twigs. It has large leaves, and in June it produces small yellowish green flowers that can sometimes smell pretty bad. So you probably know if you have one. All right, let's get a check-in forecast now. The Chief Top Shot is on the weather terrace. It looks like we're getting a nice start to the weekend, Top.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be cold tonight if you headed out, Zoe, but tell you what, it's clear and the winds have calmed down a little bit. It's not bad for January. But I want to talk about next week. And I want to show you with the European model. This is a Wednesday in the morning, so just after midnight on Wednesday. We have clouds across the board, no doubt about that. Now, by the time we get to 5:30, clouds, but dry commute to work. And 11:30, we're still dry. And then by 6 o'clock in the morning, you might have seen a little bit of a mix brief and then turn to rain and end up as a mix by 6 a.m. on Thursday just along the Maryland-PA border. So that's the European solution. And by the time we get to noon on Thursday, there is simply rain everywhere. Pretty good rains here, lighter rains as you get up into Hagerstown and Martinsburg. Again, that's on our legend there. If it's light green, it's not that heavy. Now, we get into 6 p.m., it still has rain across the entire metro, albeit light, you know, Gaithersburg, Leesburg, Frederick, and yes, has a little bit of snow. Cumberland now, Romney back into Oakland across the divide. That is 6 p.m. on Thursday. Okay, for tonight, bundle up. Yeah, temps in the 30s by 8 o'clock and bottoming out in the mid-30s downtown. There'll be some upper 20s in the suburbs. Now, I'll come back. I'll show you just an updated model of the same time frame, but with the American model. A little different.
Okay, we'll see you back here in a bit, Top. Well, it was a dog day morning for commuters in Prince George's County. Bus service was shut down because of 2 aggressive dogs. I'm going to explain coming up after this.
I'm Larry Miller. Coming up next week on Get Up DC. On Monday, we're sharing the story of a homeowner named Mike. He says his home's value was lowballed by a home appraiser because he's gay. We walk you through the whole ordeal. You'll hear from Mike and the home appraiser who denies the allegation. Then on Tuesday, we're talking with a local doctor about immune boosting supplements like vitamin C, even zinc. You may be surprised what he says really is your best option to beat a cold. And Chester is tracking changes that could impact your work week. We hope that you'll get your day started right here on Get Up DC. We're back Monday morning starting at 4:25.
All right, so we're about 45 minutes away from the release of the police body camera video of the beating of Tyre Nichols. There's a rally happening right now at Franklin Park in D.C. Let's try to listen in again.
Stop the cars. We don't need the police to stop the cars because that's what community is. Community is us. And so my community members were asking just tell the policemen, tell the cars, hold up for a minute, because we just need to uplift these people who can't uplift themselves for today. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yes, yes.
That's it. It don't take you to shoot a bullet at me or to handcuff me, because I just want to speak for somebody who can't speak for themselves.
Talk about it.
Right? So be clear that we didn't ask for this tax dollars. So when the people like, they had all those policemen out here, we didn't ask for that. Murray Bowser, Chief Conti, somebody sent that shit out here. I didn't ask for that. I don't have a permit. I don't need a permit. DC tax dollar streets. So with that being said...
Okay, you hear some of the protesters there essentially talking about police transparency and accountability. This is one of two protests happening in D.C. tonight. The other one is set for 7 o'clock at Black Lives Matter Plaza and Lafayette Square. Again, the video showing that brutal beating of Tyre Nichols is set to be released shortly after 7 o'clock our time from Memphis Police. In the meantime, new at 6 here tonight, it's rare I get to say something like this, but commuters in Maryland are probably wondering who let the dogs out. Prince George's County officials say early bird bus riders were left stranded this morning after a pair of aggressive guard dogs were loose at the bus yard. Bus drivers told us they couldn't get to their buses without getting bit. Prince George's County Police and animal control officers responded. I'll let Scott Broom pick up the story from here.
A Prince George's County animal control official was called here to the Academy Bus Company yard on Rochelle Avenue in Capitol Heights at 4:13 this morning to round up 2 loose Rottweilers, guard dogs, that employees here told me got loose from a neighboring property and were aggressively chasing anyone who ventured outside. So, with drivers hunkered in the building for safety here, the result was that early pickups on 3 major commuter routes in southern Maryland were canceled this morning, while authorities worked to round up the dogs. The dogs got loose from here. This is the Sagres Construction Company on nearby Prosperity Court. Prince George's County Animal Control reports an employee left a gate open last night. Sagres has a permit to keep guard dogs. A manager here told me there have been lots of break-ins and thefts. Now, according to Prince George's County Animal Control, an officer rounded up the dogs at the bus company and returned them to Sagres, where they were promptly locked up in secure kennels. The company would not allow me to see the dogs, but assured me they are okay and will be back on the job tonight. No one at the bus company was bitten or injured, according to authorities. Academy has not responded to WUSA9's request for comments and additional information. Now, the owner of the 2 dogs here at the Sagres Construction Company was issued 2 civil citations for allegedly allowing dogs to run at large. It was a first offense. According to county officials, the fine is $50 per dog. Academy restarted later bus routes in southern Maryland by 6 a.m. In Capitol Heights, Scott Broom, WUSA9.
Well, that's a natural security system.
Does your dog bite? No.
Yeah, no. I love these. They're going to be back on the job tonight. You know.
Hey, the dogs are doing their job.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. All right, so we've got a nice weekend ahead. And, you know, there is some snow somewhere if you go far enough west.
Of course, there's always snow somewhere.
Okay, there you go. There's Big Sky.
Oh, that's where she is.
Caitlin posted that, a little while ago. Yeah.
That is beautiful. She had to get away because we haven't gotten any here.
I know.
When are you going to take your trip?
At least she's sending pics. I don't know. I never take time off in winter because I, sit and wait for snowstorms like an idiot. But, we'll see. That is awfully nice, though. I could stare at that.
That is beautiful.
Wow. Okay.
Wake up with a little cup of coffee.
Oh, well,
just
tea.
Stare out.
Sure, tea.
Yeah. Or tea for you.
Or tea for me.
That's right.
I'm a tea guy. Or dirty chai, which is the only kind of coffee I can really drink. All right, so here's the thing. Beautiful tomorrow, a cold start. And we're talking about 50s eventually, but there'll be 20s and 30s to start. So if you get up early, you got to wait for it to warm up. And then mild on Sunday. Some showers late in the afternoon and at evening, but nothing crazy heavy. And then morning clouds on Monday and still mild. So this is definitely the pick of the weekend, no doubt. 53, if you like that sort of thing. And then some afternoon showers possible on Sunday. Some folks won't see any, so we're not going to show a weather watch alert. Not going to make you change your plans. And temperatures still in the low 50s despite the clouds and the showers. Okay, so this is Tuesday, and this is the American model, okay? Has some snow west of the divide on Tuesday, and it still has some snow south of town. Yes, south of town, Fredericksburg into southern Maryland. That's at noon on Tuesday. Now remember, the European has nothing on Tuesday at all, so the models are far from confluent right now. By 4:30, in the afternoon on Tuesday. Still some snow down toward Fredericksburg and around La Plata, a mix between La Plata and D.C. And there's nothing north of us. Now, this is the big change. On Thursday, now it looks sort of like the European model. It has rain everywhere across the board. Maybe a mix Cumberland West, but, you know, I-81 and then points east, it's all rain. That's at 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. It does get the system out of here pretty quickly by 11:30 in the morning. European model held it on all day on Thursday with some rain. This does not. In fact, this clears us out, at least D.C. north, with some pretty strong northwest winds by 3:30 in the afternoon on Thursday. So they're kind of in better agreement now. Is just some rain, maybe a brief mix early on, and then just clearing out late in the day, unless you are the European, which is it's going to rain all day. So now these models look alike, don't they? Let me get away from. Yep, they look alike. They're pretty darn close. So models now, you know, the European model had essentially nothing, but GFS had accumulating snow to the south of D.C. That is now gone away. So, well, it is kind of sad. You know, I'm not trying to get a blizzard in here. I just want to see like maybe 2-3 hours of snow.
The snow is really avoiding you this winter. Like
it is tough. I mean, like there's I was looking last night telling my producer this, that, you know, it's fantasy land when you look at, you know, 240 hours and 300 hours, but the models go out that far. It's just fun to look. There was a storm like 15 days out. Now, we want the storm off the North Carolina coast for snow. 15 days out, this storm was in eastern Nebraska. It couldn't be farther away. It's insane. I mean, it's like it's April in terms of a storm track. Okay, we digress. But why not? We're streamcasting. 11 o'clock tonight, yeah, it's cold. Around freezing. By morning, upper 20s to mid-30s downtown. By mid-morning, we're creeping up to around 40. So, you know, if you go out early tomorrow, it will be cold until about maybe noon or 1 o'clock, and then some clouds come in. But hey, we're 54 at 1 o'clock and 50 in Frederick, despite the clouds, and even, you know, upper 40s in Cumberland. That's pretty good. By tomorrow evening, we're back in the 40s. Not as cold tomorrow night as it will be tonight, but if you go out, I think a coat and a scarf is probably a good idea. I mean, we're still looking at temperatures in the 30s, 35 in Gaithersburg, 33 Leesburg by 11 o'clock tomorrow night. And then Sunday, this is our local model. It's dry in the morning with temps in the 40s, some rain out toward Cumberland and out toward Oakland, but dry in the metro. So again, may not be as pretty a day Sunday as Saturday, but at least during the morning you will have time to get some stuff done before the showers roll in. And not everybody's going to see showers, okay? Temperatures, 3 warm days, 50s, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then cold. Tuesday and Wednesday, we are back in the 40s. Little touch of winter coming back, a little bit. So low 50s tomorrow, low 50s on Sunday, and then morning clouds Monday. We'll keep Monday dry, maybe some showers in southern Maryland, but essentially dry, and then afternoon sun. And then morning snow possible Tuesday, cold on Wednesday. Now I'm thinking just morning rain on Thursday, maybe a mix, and then much colder on Friday. Temperatures hold in the 30s.
And now, WUSA9 Sports with Charlotte McBride, sponsored by Xfinity.
In the dead of winter with temperatures below freezing, the wind whipping, sometimes bringing with it snow, sometimes rain. Well, it doesn't matter what the weather's like because you'll always find the St. Andrews swim team here in this pool outside.
It builds a lot of resiliency because, you know, you kind of have to deal with whatever conditions are given to you. I mean, you can't really change the weather, but it's also like we're all kind of going through it together.
I think there's very few teams and very few kids who would be willing to come do this every day other than us, and we not only come do it every day, but we look forward to doing it, and like it's really become a staple of our team to practice outside.
For the past 5 seasons, Ryan Markowitz has led the St. Andrews swim team outside for daily practices.
Wild. I don't think I've ever seen it like this.
But you'll never hear these student athletes complain. In fact, they embrace the challenge and the cold.
I love the sport, so I don't mind swimming like outside in the cold and the rain, in the snow. So I think the outdoor element just like makes it more fun.
And also makes us tougher.
Yeah.
Okay. St. Andrews is the only high school swim team in the DMV to train outside throughout the winter, using the Montgomery Square Copenhagen Swim Club facilities in Potomac, Maryland.
All good?
This is our culture now. This is what people expect, and I think they take some measure of pride in that, that they are the only winter sport team that trains outside, you know, even on a day like this.
With no pool on the school's campus, the only way to practice consistently was to do what no one else would.
We're the only one that took this step so that we could get 5 days a week in the water and match, our peer schools who do have pools on their campus.
Yeah, that.
That's really allowed us to catapult our program to where it is. Just last week, our girls placed 3rd in the ISL conference. That hasn't happened for a co-ed school since 2016.
The team will continue to train for a few more weeks as the boys and girls prepare for their league championships.
Really awesome work today, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get warm.
Reporting for WUSA9 Sports, I'm Charlotte McBride.
All right, just ahead of victory when it comes to diversity at the White House, and it brought a lot of excitement. That's next. Another victory for diversity at the White House, and it brought a lot of excitement. Take a look at this. President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden welcomed guests yesterday for the first Lunar New Year celebration ever to be held at the White House. The Choi One Lion Dance Troupe wowed the audience with a traditional dance. This dance troupe is based in Fairfax, by the way. It's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to preserve and spread Chinese cultural awareness through performing arts. The group's name, Choi One, means reaching for the clouds, and it's a reminder to each of us to reach for the skies each and every day. Kind of like you are when it comes to snow.
Oh, I'm looking. I'm not reaching. Well, maybe I am reaching, trying to find a snowstorm. All right, so tomorrow's great. A cold start, though. I want to emphasize that. I know you see the 53 on the 7-day. You go bopping out at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be in the 20s
Sounds
and 30s.
like me. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So just put a little coat on yourself, and then you're fine after sweatshirt after that. Maybe a late shower Sunday, but you know what? Not alert worthy. And then morning clouds on Monday, and then I want to ask you to come back at 11 o'clock because I may change the Tuesday and Thursday forecast. One model has nothing on Tuesday. Now both models have just rain on Thursday. But it will be colder. Temperatures back in the 40s. And then next Friday could be our first day in the month of holding in the 30s for highs.
Yeah, we haven't seen the 30s like that in a while.
Yeah,
it's been a little bit.
Oh, you know what? That's too late, though. That would be February.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
Never mind.
Later next.
So we're gonna have no days this month in the 30s.
Wow.
How about
You'll
that?
hear that. That's bizarre. It's kind of creepy too.
No, and no. We break.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Where are we going right now? That does it for us in the news at 6. We'll see you on TV and streaming right here for the news at 11. Have a great night until then.
Free them all.